Simpson, Knox County Bee Inspector, and generally I try and do as little in the hive as possible because the more you get in a hive, the more things that fix afterwards. It can sometimes take them up to a day to fix what you've done in that hive. Usually I try and find fresh eggs first. Once I find fresh eggs, I know there's a queen there. So generally I don't look for a queen, because that can take a while. And like I said, I try and do as little as possible in the hive. When I first started inspecting bees, I tried to locate drone brood. The one thing I find that as I get into the season further and further, the closer to fall you get, sometimes you find a lot less drone brood. So, I don't use a sugar roll method. I should. But biggest reason why I don't use a sugar roll method is because it'd be more equipment I have to clean up. So, if I don't find drone brood, generally I try and look at all the drones, as many as I can in the first 2 or 3 frames, and if I don't see any mites sitting on them, I thought, well, I might see them. I close it up, and I call it a clean hive. I am supposed to write out a citation if I find a lot of burrcomb where it doesn't belong in that hive.
What exactly? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Burrcomb, or what I'm talking about, is if I pull the lid off and go take the inner cover off, and there's a whole bunch of frames missing.
So if somebody forgot to put a frame or 2 in,
right,
and they've crossed over or dropped their own, that's a citation. I don't understand that.
Well, it's and by law, if I find a case like that, I'm actually supposed to write out a citation to the beekeeper.
I got you.
But that's why I stress that people should be home when I come and inspect that hive, because when I see something like that, I can say,
well, I knew about cross-comb and stuff, but I thought, well, how is that a citation?
well, I mean, by law, I'm supposed to write a citation.
So you need accessibility to the bees.
Right.
Okay.
By law, when are you supposed to write that citation?
When I find it.
What else do you look for besides mites?
One of the big things I keep in mind when I open up that hive, and especially for the hives that are in wooded areas, one of the big things I keep in mind is the smells in the area. If you come up to a beehive that has a familiar perfume hanging around it, I've never been sprayed by a skunk. Don't care to get sprayed by a skunk. And also, too, when I notice, if I pull in a location I see only 1 or 2 bees coming from the entrance, then I'll walk up to that hive, and before I even touch the thing, I'll stand back and I'll sniff around the hive. Because I've been around American foulbrood long enough that I know without even opening up that hive if it's got it. But I'll go ahead and open up the hive. If I detect there's scent, I'll go ahead and open up the hive, take a sample of the comb, send it to Beltsville, and wait until they send me a report back as what it is. Generally, I put both my name down and the beekeeper's name down, so they'll send us both a report. Then I can tell the beekeeper if it's positive AFB, it is recommended that you burn the hive, no matter what shape the hive's in. If it's in perfect shape, you burn it, it's gone. Because AFB has been known to live in a hive for up to
Can I ask a question? I've been hearing about American foul brood, European foul brood for 25 plus years. I don't think I've ever seen. How common is it? But is it under control now or not?
It still pops up from time to time, especially for people like us that have done commercial beekeeping. It tends to pop up more in commercial beekeepers because you move hives around, and, you know.
So, I guess I'm still asking the same question. How often are we seeing it in hobbyist beekeepers?
Well, I had another beekeeper that lives. He lives in Trumbull County area, which is northern Ohio, but
So it is a rare thing.
Yeah.
And it's usually used equipment.
I mean, like I say, you know, if you hear somebody, a friend of yours, even a relative that wants to get rid of equipment, if you don't know whether the person had disease or not, please get a hold of me, and you know, we'll get together and get it checked out and make sure it's safe.
Are there any medications for prevention or cure of foul
Yes,
brood?
there is. Terramycin powder is what I call pretty much like taking pain medication. It takes care of it all right, but it just hides it. Now, usually when I get this, when I get the letter from Beltsville, I'll look at the bottom of the letter, because on that letter they'll type down there's whether the sample that I sent in was susceptible or treatable with terramycin powder. If it was treatable, I did have a case in Centerburg area a few years ago where a beekeeper got AFB and sent a sample in. It was treatable with terramycin. He treated, it's been clean. So, if it is treatable, yes, you can treat with terramycin and get rid of it. But if it says not susceptible to terramycin, then in that case, a matchstick's the best thing.
What about Thailand?
I don't know of anybody that has ever checked with that stuff before. Have you read about that?
Some commercial beekeepers using it.
Do they treat it as they've seen it, or is it a preventative?
Thailand is registered as a cure for American foul brood.
Really?
Terramycin is registered as a preventive for American foul brood, but they say it won't cure a case.
Right, I've always heard that terramycin just keeps it sedated.
The terramycin will cure European foul brood.
Now, I have never, to the best of my knowledge, I've never had any cases of European foul brood, but it is not as dangerous as American foul brood. It's usually just caused by dampness and stuff like that. I've this year actually I've not seen hardly any bad cases of varroa mites.
At this time, Eric, can we open it up? Is anybody seeing diseases or ask you about diseases they're seeing or something, and then maybe as a club answer that?
Does anybody have any diseases or something you got a question about?
You're not seeing anything in your house?
What's the most common diseases that we're going to see? And do you check for other diseases like chalk brood, tracheal, and small hive beetle? Because I've got last year's inspection report for the state, and other beekeeping inspectors in other counties were inspecting for things like chalk brood and tracheal mites.
Well, I check for everything while I'm in that hive. I do tend to see some light cases of chalk brood in the early springtime, which is due to dampness and stuff like that. But throughout the rest of the year, I'm hard pressed to find cases of.
Well, I know you marked down you didn't find any last year.
Unless I see a real bad case of it, I don't usually mark it down. And I've never seen a real serious case of it.
Well, what do you feel is the biggest pest or disease we have, and how do you recommend treating it?
Varroa mites are pretty much the biggest pest right now. I have not, although I said earlier, I have not seen any real bad cases. About a week or two ago, I was at a bee yard and pulled out about 6 drone brood, and each one had about 4 mites in the cell. That's bad.
Yeah.
I told the beekeeper, I said, the best thing to do is, put some apis stand strips in there. Since you've got honey supers on, you've got to pull those off. Treat it with apis stand. Because he said he hadn't treated with anything in the springtime. Now, if you treated with apis stand in the springtime, then you better put check mite in there. Don't use the very same thing over and over and over, because the mites get immune to that, and then they'll develop a stronger immunity.
Doesn't apis stand check mite both get absorbed into the combs and cause problems down the road?
That's why you recommend take your honey supers off and treat. You can.
So is there directions on the package?
Yes.
So follow the directions.
Follow directions.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yes. And you should, above all, because it is chemicals, you should use chemical-resistant gloves when you're handling this stuff. Because especially the check mite strips have serious chemicals that attack your nervous system, and if you don't handle this stuff right, you find yourself laying out dead in your bee yard. So, yeah.
Well,
Eric, I don't want to cut you off, but
well, thanks a lot.
I gotta go.
Thank you.